So you've got the kind of, you call them the future-proof faceplates.
Yep.
Does that mean, therefore, that, let's say, as you said there, that right now it's at, what was it, 3 to 3.4 amps?
3.4 amps, yeah.
Yeah. So in the future, maybe there will come a time when there's that becomes kind of standard.
Yeah.
Therefore, is that what the future-proof faceplates are all about? That effectively, as technology changes, you can just update it. And actually, before you answer that, maybe just explain a little bit what is a future-proof faceplate.
Yeah. Okay. Certainly. So, number of questions in there.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. Just throw away. So, future-proof faceplate. So, a future-proof faceplate is basically, so normally when you think of a plug socket, you normally think of a one. Let me just put these two plugs down. Normally when you think of a normal plug socket, you think of either one gang, which is just a one gang socket that's actually only got one UK plug on it, or a two gang. And that's basically what we have across our homes, across the UK. So what we have is a future-proof faceplate, which is basically the faceplate. So it's the surrounding faceplate that then you have a module that you actually can plug into it. Now the modules come in, there's a number of different modules, whether it be HDMI, SVGA, you can get TV modules, satellite modules, DAB, you name it, Ethernet, so plug sockets. Pretty much every connection you can think of is actually included. So these modules that actually have these connections in can literally be slotted in to the actual frame, the actual future-proof faceplate. Now, obviously, what that means is that if technology changes, as you were saying, i.e. the USB actually goes from your standard 1-2 amp to then being 3-4 amps, then it's an easy, basically pull out and swap the actual module. And that's basically going to be it. So it means that as technology moves forward, so can your wall socket. So your wall socket it's no longer you have to replace the entire wall socket. All you're doing is replacing the actual module that slots into it. So this is something. The reason why they're future-proof faceplates is purely because every time you actually reinstall a different plug socket, it costs you. If you're installing a new one, then obviously you actually have to have an additional hole put in your wall, which is always expensive, and they have to be installed by qualified electrical engineers. Whereas these, you literally can swap and change them as time goes on and technology moves forward. So it's saving you money and it's saving you time in the future.
Cool. Okay. So even somebody as clearly likely to electrocute themselves as I could, given my lack of DIY or any practical skills. So I'd be able to kind of swap this thing out of the wall in future. Let's say I get a new TV and I need a HDMI cable connection to the wall.
Yep.
Is that something that I'll be able to do, or as in, is it moron proof? I guess I'm asking.
Nothing that involves electricity in the slightest is moron proof.
No. Okay.
Unfortunately, it would be great if it was, but that's not the case. So anyone with a reasonable amount of like DIY skills,
okay.
If it's a straightforward swap out of the existing faceplate and putting a new faceplate on, then yeah, it's reasonably easy. And the same for the modules. So obviously the modules come down to what you're actually connecting, what the connection is at the back. So if you're connecting, if you're inserting an HDMI module in there, and you've currently got a plug socket module in there, then obviously the plug socket has actually got power coming to it from your mains, whereas an HDMI, you actually want to run it through to your TV. So it's the cable that is connecting at the back of the TV and is running through the wall to then connect to the HDMI. So in other words, it all depends. The modules, obviously, depending on what module you have, depends on what connection you need to make at the back of it. So most of the time, we would always recommend to actually get a fully qualified electrical engineer in to do any kind of installation. But if you have got some reasonably good DIY skills, then yes, it's easy enough to do yourself. Just don't.
Cool. Yeah, no, I won't. But okay. But so let's just take it through, because I'm trying to get my head around this for myself. So I'm looking at the back of my TV right now, and I see an aerial port coming out, and I see the HDMI on the side. So you're saying that with these faceplates, effectively with the modules, that's the kind of combo that you could get installed for you. So you don't have to effectively rip out your wall. That in future, if that changes, if the technology changes, it's just a case of, oh, okay, well, on the back of the TV now it's not an HDMI, it's some other technology. Therefore, I just plug in this thing in the wall, and it swaps over. Am I getting that right?
You are and you aren't.
Okay, excellent. Break it down for me then.
So,
please.
Okay, so if you were connecting, so if you actually put a module in that actually had a TV connector and a satellite connector on it, then what you'd need to do, the wiring at the back would obviously have to be connected to an aerial and your satellite aerial. So it's like the existing kind of it's like the existing socket that you may have somewhere in your house already. But what it means is that rather than actually having that there constantly, what you can do is, as technology moves on, because it's not always going to be, as we found out with TV, you know, all the aerials have disappeared across the whole of the UK. So really, most of the TV sockets that we've got in our homes now don't really do anything. So I mean, they're some of them are actually picking up some of them picking up, trying to think what term is now, digital TV. So some of them picking up digital TV, but other ones are literally obsolete, because most people nowadays, they have cable, they have satellite. So most of the time, that's what people are actually watching their TV through. So if you've got a connection in your home, you've got a socket in your house that currently actually has a TV connection in it, then there's no point in having it. So because as technology moves forward, you know, you're going to have to replace that socket. Now, if you actually had a future-proof faceplate, you wouldn't have to replace the whole socket, because all you'll be doing is replacing the module in it.
Right. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So obsolete technology out, new technology replaced there, and on you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's more about saving you money in the future.
Yeah.
The problem is when you're replacing your entire socket, it's not necessarily the actual you know, most people have, or a lot of people these days in their homes actually have sort of like, you know, plastic white ones that they originally had. But people have swapped over the last few years, because what they want is, they want a nice looking socket. They want their homes to actually look nice, and because of that, they change their light switches, they change their standard sockets, they change all their sockets to be standard, or not standard, they change all their sockets to be exactly the same, so that their light switches match their sockets. And a lot of them have got chrome, a lot of them have got some of them have got nickel, some of them have got wooden ones, mahogany, for example. So people actually have upgraded and done their light switches and their plug sockets. Now the trouble is if you're having to replace one of those every single time, it starts adding up and costing you money. And if you basically want to sort of like, you know, rip out one and replace it with something else, you're actually replacing the entire socket. Whereas a future-proof faceplate allows you to keep the whole socket, the actual faceplate, and just replace the module.